Good afternoon and good day. Welcome to our Peace Talk webinar series hosted by Universal Peace Federation of Malaysia with the support of Brickfields Asia College Education Group. Today is the 17th of April 2021. It's a beautiful Saturday afternoon here in Kuala Lumpur. My name is Sudesh. I am the president of UPF Malaysia. I have the honor of serving you as the host of today's webinar. A little bit of a brief background of UPF. UPF is an NGO in general consultative status with the Economic and Social Council of the United Nations. We are an international network of individuals, organizations, and ambassadors for peace, dedicated to achieving world peace by supporting the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. Ladies and gentlemen, you may have questions regarding the seminar, and if you do, you may post your queries via email provided in the chat box, and our administration team will be assisting you on that. Ladies and gentlemen, the theme of today's webinar is COVID-19, preparing your business for the post-pandemic world and forging a sustainable future. This program is held in conjunction with the launching of the International Association for Peace and Economic Development, IAED, in Malaysia. Before we get into the program proper, ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to honor and welcome our distinguished and eminent speakers for today. First, Mr. Thomas McDavid, Chairman of the Washington Times. Second, Mr. Masatate Kajikuri, Regional Coordinator of IAED Asia Pacific. Mr. Lai Peng Kiong, National Liaison Director of UPF Malaysia. Ms. Lynn Saleh, our panel moderator. Mr. Udesh Chaska, Director and Board of World Startup Festival.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone.
Dr. Christopher Warren, Managing Director of Great Success Consultancy. Mr. Brian Larich, CEO of the Make It Right movement, MIRM. Mr. Jason Lim, Branch Manager of Gebruder Weiss, Singapore.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Jason.
Hi, Mr. Sudesh.
Ms. Tracy Chan, Founder and Director of Dare to Dream Management and KNT Dance Academy. Greetings to all speakers and panelists. We understand businesses have been badly hit since the outbreak of the pandemic a year ago. Today's webinar will explore sustainable practices and approaches that businesses can adopt in this post-pandemic era. Today's webinar will include a practical call to action where all of you and your business would have an opportunity to become agents of change in supporting the United Nations SDG. You'll be getting a brief on this a bit later. Well, let's get the ball rolling. To start off the webinar, our first speaker, Mr. Kajikuri, the Regional Coordinator of IAED Asia Pacific, will be giving the special remarks. Please allow me to say a few words about Mr. Kajikuri. Mr. Masatate Kajikuri was born in Tokyo, Japan in 1973. He graduated from Sunmun University of South Korea and had been involved in human resource development for several organizations across Japan and Cambodia. He has extensive experience as the editor-in-chief and as a public relations and publishing manager of the Japanese news bulletin Nisei Jidai. And for more than 6 years, he's been involved in this work. Mr. Kajikuri is currently the CEO of Smart Reach Company Limited in Japan, and also serves as the regional coordinator of the IAED Asia Pacific. With that, without further ado, let's welcome Mr. Kajikuri.
Thank you, Dr. Sudesh. Mr. Thomas McDavid, all the leaders, good morning, good afternoon, good day. I'm Masatate Kajikuri, who is the coordinator of IAED in the Asia Pacific region. I would like to congratulate about inaugurating of IAED in Malaysia. IAED aims to contribute to peace, especially in the economic areas, as an associate organization of UPF. When considering sustainable peace in modern society, I think that the role of business people will be very important, and at the same time, that responsibility will be huge. In particular, the economic sector was most influenced by COVID-19. On the contrary, online business are rapidly revitalizing. Mankind finds new things in a crisis. IAED's strength is its international global network. There are many great entrepreneurs in the network. One theme is how to contribute to society in the economic field. I think the 21st century is the era of the Asia Pacific. We can see it by looking at the growth of GDP in the world. However, it's also true that there are many problems at the same time. Many countries are growing, but many are not realizing it. Those who have not realized their growth are facing difficulty under the influence of COVID-19. Asia Pacific is the future. I think it's necessary to develop future human resources. I hope that many entrepreneurs will look to their future rather than the present and develop future human resource in Asia Pacific. We hope that this international global network will greatly contribute to the development of future human resource in the Asia Pacific region. I would like to introduce Mr. Thomas McDavid, international global coordinator for IAED and chairman of the Washington Times and the chairman of Hyojeon Magnolia US Foundation and vice chairman of Hyojeon Magnolia Global Foundation as a keynote address of this webinar. He is global business leader. I hope all of participants will be enlightened through his speech. Thank you, Mr. Tom McDavid, for joining us. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Kajikuri. Shall I go ahead? Yes.
Yes, Mr. Tom, you
thank
can
you
proceed.
so much. Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Sudesh, it's great to see you again. And Mr. Kazipuri and many other friends online. There we go. Can you hear me okay, Dr. Sudesh?
Yes, go ahead.
Perfect. Thank you. It's so wonderful to see, number one, what a wonderful audience gathered here today as I look through the screens. I'm sure all of you, like me, share a lot of time on Zoom. So this has become a much more natural environment as we all become TV stars, so to speak, even talking with our families and our friends and our loved ones. And I really applaud the Malaysia and the whole Asia Pacific area to put together this seminar, this forum. I'd like to address a couple issues and introduce IAED. I think it's becoming a fabulous resource for business leaders, managers, employees, and entrepreneurs. And I think it's a very critical time that it's being launched now in Malaysia. I'm just so sorry we can't be together in the same hotel over lunch or maybe after lunch. Obviously, no one can predict what the economics are going to be like as we move through the pandemic. I oversee a big media company, as well as our corporate group has the New Yorker Hotel in Manhattan. And it is the most complex issue there with the hospitality industry that's affected by airlines and tourism and restaurants and the theaters in Manhattan, the museums, they are still not open normally. So how do we look to the future in a time of crisis? I think it's a very critical issue, one of the most essential questions that a business leader could ask. At the same time, I want to recognize that the world has changed as we all experience every day. And without a doubt, from my home here in Washington, DC, there is no question that the Asia Pacific region has become the center of gravity in terms of culture, economics, and in so many other ways. In that sense, America is very proud and very honored to be on the Pacific Rim. And we believe we are a Pacific nation, just like all of you, most of our audience. And we also see the emergence of pretty critical threats around the world, whether it's in the environment, the social issues, what our young people are facing, substance abuse, poverty, certainly the impact of COVID-19. And of course, there are the geopolitical threats that are emerging and seem to be getting even more intense as the weeks go by. Without a doubt, the world of economics is essential, and the role of business leaders couldn't be more important than today. And I want to applaud every single one of you who run a business, who have a vision to start a business, who are deeply entrenched in your corporations or even your small startup company. As Mr. Kajikuri mentioned in his remarks, no question that the world has shifted into a digital dimension, and the ability to communicate, to market products, to invent products is never been so important as today. And that's why I think in the environment that we have today, the emergence of the International Association for Peace and Economic Development is right on time. And it was launched last February. Some of us were there in Korea for 6,000 people. And we had a conference of some 500 leaders. We were very happy to have our good friend, the investor, Jim Rogers from Singapore, who was our keynote and our chairman of that conference. President George H.W. Bush's son, Neil Bush, who was very, very involved in China, was a speaker. Some of the other speakers were outstanding, like Bill Imeke from Columbia. Professor Imeke is one of the global leaders on social value investing. And his research has shown that companies that are dedicated to a higher purpose, to help communities, to give back to their nations, to their communities, to their employees, and to their customers, tend to do better in terms of their ROI. We had an amazing conference. But since then, what's incredible through the pandemic is to see this explosion of innovation. We have been holding meetings, convening experts every week all over the world. I know even from now to the end of the year, we've got some 300 webinars planned in every continent on different facets. And in addition to the economics, we also launched the International Association of Parliamentarians for Peace, elected officials. Over 7,000 now are involved in about 160 countries. Heads of state like Goodluck Jonathan from Nigeria, and we just had Vice President Mike Pence speak, and so many other top people like that. The interfaith area with Christian, Muslim, Jewish, Buddhist, Confucian, people of faith and of a transcendent mindset. And then we have the academic field backed up by the arts and culture, and of course, media, which I coordinate, and business. So my friends, just imagine those mountains of culture, politics, business, media, religion, arts, academia, women, youth. All of those pillars are growing with people like you that want to make a difference. And the core belief is based upon that we are all connected through the concept of interdependence. We are really a global family. And that's a different mindset for a business leader. Second, that we are dedicated to mutual prosperity, that all countries, all people need to grow. We need new models for business. There's so much great innovation going on, but at the core of that innovation has got to be the driving sense of purpose and heart and compassion, where we recognize one another as the sacred human beings that we are, all coming from one source. And then finally, this whole organization, this whole network, this culture that's emerging around the world in every race, in every faith, in every country, every ethnicity, is based on universal values. Such core values as the importance of strengthening family and character and interfaith connections, and that the economy is essential, especially as we live for this. That's why it is such a great honor to be part of this. I want you to pay attention in the weeks ahead to the rallies of hope. We've had 5 of them. They're reaching hundreds of millions through cable television and internet TV. And we've had people like former Speaker, Secretary General Ban Ki-moon. We just had Vice President Mike Pence. We had Dr. Sarah Gilbert from Oxford, who helped invent the Oxford vaccine. My good friend David Beasley, who heads up the World Food Program. These are the kind of people that are coming together to make a difference in a new level. I would call it enlightened, and it's a grand strategy in which business and economy are the drivers of how to create wealth and human flourishing. Finally, I am so honored to be part of the panel here. I can't wait to hear the presentations that you're about to hear. This is going to be a postgraduate seminar on the best thinking among a team of people that are practitioners, they're experts because of their decades of experience. And I want to also take this moment with my dear friend, Mr. Kajakuri and Dr. Sudesh, that there will be a ceremony here where we're launching IAED in Malaysia. And we would like to humbly request that all of you get involved. And that's why I'm proud to say, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, brothers and sisters, I hereby announce the official launch of the International Association for Peace and Economic Development in Malaysia. Thank you so much, and may God bless you.
Well, what can I say? Congratulations. And we have launched IAED in Malaysia. And thank you so much, Mr. McDavid, for the honors of launching IAED Malaysia. So we really earnestly hope that IAED Malaysia would bring together like-minded business leaders to work towards long-term mutual prosperity and sustainable development. Thank you also for the wonderful keynote remarks. Mr. McDavid has highlighted opportunities for all of you business leaders to be part of this international network and making a difference for the world. So once again, thank you, Mr. McDavid, for the meaningful keynote remarks.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sudesh.
Thank you. We will now proceed to the panel sharing session of our webinar. It features 5 eminent panelists and our young and dynamic moderator, Ms. Lynn Saleh from Palestine, who I would like to introduce right now. Ms. Lynn Saleh is a highly motivated and confident lady who's passionate towards community service and change. She has much experience in service learning and public relations, while she has an academic background in applied health. She is currently active in a number of NGOs and involved in projects empowering refugee children. In short, ladies and gentlemen, you are in very good hands. And I will now like to pass the panel session over to our moderator, Ms. Lynn. Ms. Lynn, the floor is all yours.
Thank you, Mr. Sudesh, and a very good afternoon or good morning or good night to everyone who's participating in this webinar. Thank you for passing the floor one more time. My name is Lynn Saleh, and I'm very happy today to moderate the panel session. And I'm super excited actually to have you here, excited about the conversation that we will get to have today. We will be having 5 amazing speakers who will enrich your knowledge to help you stay at the top of your game, up to date with COVID, the pandemic, and the challenges that arises, sharing their very best techniques. One more thing, I would like to remind the audience that the session is recording, and throughout the panel discussion, you will be able to submit questions throughout the email. Your question can be submitted for either all the panelists and speakers or for a specific person. Just please indicate who your question is for. So let's launch into this with our first panelist. I would like to introduce Mr. Yudesh Chaskar. Good morning, Mr. Yudesh. Is it good morning?
Good morning. Yeah, it's morning over here.
Yeah.
Good morning and good afternoon to everyone.
Thank you so much. So Mr. Yudesh is the Regional Director of Ford Startup Festival, WSF, and the Associate Director of Skylight Berhad. Today, Mr. Yudesh has been working as an expert connecting leading corporates and businesses with expertise in fundraising, strategy modeling, and forecasting market valuation. So the topic would be to forget the new normal and reimagine your business. The floor is all yours, Mr. Yudesh. You may start.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ms. Lynn. First and foremost, good afternoon and greetings to everyone. I hope everyone is doing fine. In fact, from wherever you guys are tuning in here from, thank you to UPF for being able to connect and come on with this very interesting topic, I would say, as of today. So as for myself, talking on this topic, which is a very interesting topic, that is forgetting the new normal and reimagining your business, reimagine your business. I'm mainly going to focus on 2 parts over here. That is actually much more on the individuals rather than the business itself. Okay, why do I do that? I will just explain in a bit, in fact. But mainly being in the business line from since the day I graduated or when I've started, it's more than a decade ago, I would like to mention that the whole idea of businessmen, when you actually come up to the whole business world or the business economy, you need to know that you are alone. even though you're with partners, or even though you have your shareholders with you, or your whole organization with you. But whenever you are in business, you have to know that it is first and foremost, what is your main reason that you are there today? Okay, so I have in fact divided it into just two parts. Oops. I'm not able to move on. Mm-hmm. Can you all see my screen?
Yes, we can see it, Udesh.
Oh, okay, finally. Okay, so part one, I'll be touching literally where we are right now. Okay, and part one, I'm going to be focusing, of course, of everyone knows the coronavirus has disrupted the whole global, not only economy, but even our social lives. Okay, and you have to know a few things about this pandemic that is affecting us right now. More importantly, is that this is the scale and the report that was reported by Global Data. As of the third quarter of last year, 2020, that was out. So for this year, we have not got the fourth quarter of 2020, but as you can see, which are the industries that have been mainly affected because of the coronavirus pandemic. Okay, as seen here, I would clearly say that not even one industry, in fact, has been able to get away with this. Okay, though there are business you can call gurus, or some people saying that, hey, actually in the e-commerce it has been growing and it has been booming. But let me tell you this, when you look at the whole chain cycle of what is happening, you will realize that even the e-commerce, though it's booming because we are all in our confined spaces, but when it takes the delivery time to deliver the product that you have purchased to you, it is still being affected on that day itself. Okay, and here, this is another slide that I've put in. This is going to be history, of course. This was back then, before, of course, the virus came in and everything. Every one of us knew that when we have gatherings, when you have festivals, this is literally what we see. Very true, but this is where we are today. Believe me or not, or believe it or not, I would say that, guys, you can always say that you want your life back, but even WHO and most of the security councils globally has mentioned that it will take at least 7 years to have a global herd immunization program at the stage that we are going today. So looking at this, it actually makes me go to part two, what you can do and how do you position yourself, or rather than your business. Over here, I'm going to actually show a very, very interesting chart that was recently done on a study on the impact on student lives. Why am I touching on student lives over here for each and everyone to know is the students, or you call the youth generation, the younger generation, are very, very, very important whenever we look at the social economy of not only a country, but literally regions across the world. It's the younger generation that has made humongous change in each and everyone's lives, from being able to spend, being able to actually be the movers and shakers, and being able to be the end users of any businesses out there. So if you have a look over here, what has really happened is actually, if in blue, you can see the first chart, their stress and anxiety of these youths have in fact grown at a stage which is totally out of the books or context that we have today. The stress and anxiety is 91%, topping out of 100. That's affected our youth thanks to the pandemic. Why this is important, I want you to know, is because whenever the youths comes out, when you look at your business, the whole idea is that you always have this big question in your mind. Okay, are you going to be an employee or are you going to be an entrepreneur? At this stage of life, where are you going to head onwards to? Because when you look at your business, the whole idea when you have your business, the first thing it comes is that, are you going to be creative or are you going to be innovative? Many of the times, most of us will say that, hey, I think so being innovative is better. We're going to come up with new things and we are going to grow the market and we are going to explode everything. But bear in mind, when you're looking at the new normal, you're going to reimagine your business. What I always say, one thing to each and everyone, even business owners, is that always take a step back before you come out with a final decision of using technology or straight away going into all the big words that people are using. The words can be AI, fintech, blockchain, all the industries out there, which is actually going on today. Why do I say this? I would like to quote what Albert Einstein once said. I fear the day that technology will surpass our human interaction. The world will have a generation of idiots. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you all to realize one thing. Whenever you're talking about reimagining your business, first and foremost, I want you all to know is that just do not chase where the whole rat race or the wave is going towards to. Stand still, be yourself, and think what the community really needs, rather than what can I feed the community. It's two separate things, yeah? So when you look at literally the community, what the community really needs, you will start to realize a few things, whereby that it doesn't even mean that the technology is going to be so important in the times to come, or going to take a business from zero to a hero. But the main thing you're going to be needing over here is that you're going to be looking, how are you going to be able to actually sustain your business, help the community grow? Because when the community grows, you will know that that is how your business is going to prosper together as well. That's point number one over there. And thoughts to ponder, what am I actually coming to over here is that you have to know that the COVID-19 is not like any other previous economic crisis ever recorded. Of course, there are speculations that this is a 10-year cycle that is coming and it's going to go on and everything. But bear in mind of this process and containment of any traditional crisis response will not necessarily work. I want you all to know that, because many have even come to me and say that, hey, I think so this is going to work. I'm going to try this. There's so many gurus online and there's so many mentors online, and I'm going to try this one. Let me tell you one thing. No one has perhaps even gone through any pandemic as big as what we are today in the coronavirus age. And perhaps my personal opinion is that you have to not only do trial and errors to where you're going to hit on to, but your plan at this point of time as a businessman, being in the business, is going to be main thing, how you're going to take yourself forwards to along with your team. Point number two, thoughts to ponder, is that the process of containment and slowing down the spread of the COVID that is facing in country will create a major disruption in itself. Over here, I would like to stress that don't keep planning, and execution is a key. Okay, because what has really happened, even though myself, we are only being able to travel over this month. In fact, for 1 year, we have not been able to travel. Let me say this honestly. What do I really think? What do I really see about the business out there is that before the pandemic, we had so much of time, in fact, to plan, keep on planning, and then coming to execution, we can do a lot of things. But when this has totally gone out right now, that is with the pandemic in place, we just realized that there is no time to have a super long plan and a process to it. We just want to see the results, and action should be the key. This is also why when I told a lot of businessmen out there, because you will realize one thing, where we are today is a very controversial age, I would say, because believe me or not, if you are business owners and you're running corporations, most of the students right now have been affected for a year at least. We are right in the middle of the pandemic right now. We do not know there's going to be a third wave or fourth wave proceeding, okay? But just ponder on this. Are the corporations, the global big corporations online and the businesses going to accept students who have literally gone for just virtual class for 1, 2, or 3 years? Are you going to accept that? Or do you want literally a student who has actually attended a physical class, diploma, or a degree, you call it, later on, to accept your organization? I want all of you as business owners to think about it, because the reality, what we are facing is that in businesses, many of them tend to choose those which have attended physical classes out there. Okay. And last but not least, is I wish, in fact, everyone out there, because yeah, time is up. Okay, wish everyone out there, when you're looking towards businesses and reimagining your business, the whole idea is, I would like to say, is that don't be too much engaged in chasing where the whole wave is going on to. Most importantly, I would say, is that look at the community itself. Because when you see the whole pandemic has really happened, we are all confined in our spaces itself. Most importantly is that you need to understand, if you can get your community for a betterment within a short time or a longer time, this community is going to grow by itself. Okay, you can try to put aside of immediately going cross borders and disrupting. These are the words that usually businessmen will use. But looking at the basics right now, how are you going to reimagine your business? I would say is that try to focus with the local communities, because from that, these sustainable movements will definitely go for a longer time. And of course, most importantly is that it's going to be touching on the sustainable development goals, hereby that everyone is looking to create a better 2030 future. That's it. I think so. I will stop here, Lean, and I will pass on back to you.
Can you hear me now? Yeah.
Yes. Yep, I can hear you. Yep.
Thank you so much for such an insightful presentation. So maybe the point that we would like to highlight is, to sustain your business, you need to focus on the community growth in order to grow your business as well. So thank you so much. And moving to our second topic, upscale or fade away, with Dr. Christopher Won, an expert on corporate financial strategy and business transformation consultant for more than 18 years, assisted many SME and startups in structuring their businesses to attain growth. Mr. Dato, I would like to invite you. The floor is all yours. Please take it away. You may take it away.
Good afternoon, everyone. Actually, I'm purposely wearing the mask and talk to you all, because why? Wearing mask has become a norm, right? Basically, everyone wearing a mask. Without wearing a mask, basically a lot of people can't recognize you. So this is the sad part of this pandemic. Okay, let me start my presentation. Okay, so basically, under this post-MCO reset, right? Okay, upskill to upskills or fade away. I become a business consultant for more than 18 years. But this time, this pandemic had made many industries suffer, right? So basically, what is this post-MCO reset, right? It's the whole game plan in this business world have been reset. Why I say so? Previously, tourism industry, airline, all this industry is considered one of the low risk industry sector. But however, after this MCO, after this pandemics, all this industry is considered a high risk industry, right? So what is the new game plan, right? For the business owner or entrepreneur, all right, need to reset, need to plan under this pandemic. There are only 3 outcomes for the business owner under this pandemic situation. First outcome, which is a lot of people sadly to say that we need to close down your business. I have been advising a lot of family business which is already in the market for more than 30 years, all right? Come to the next generations that do not wish to inherit their family business. What they are going to do? The business owner forced to close down, all right? Sadly to say that if they are not willing to transform their business model, they have to close down, all right? Second options they have is to continue surviving, right? So a lot of businesses, they try to survive in this pandemic, but however, they do not have any revenue to generate the cash come to their business. So it costs a lot of these business owners, they need to get loan from the bank. Other than bank, they need to get a loan from finance house, or even don't come up with their own saving to survive the business. So let's say, but the question is, when this pandemic will going to end? That is the question mark. So a lot of the business owners, they do not understand how long I need to wait, how long I need to wait. So these questions have been lingering around a lot of businessmen. So under this case, what they need to do, all right? Come back to the first scenario, which is close down, right? So basically, under continuous supply, right, it depends on how much cash you still continue you need to spend for your business to continue survive. Of course, as a business consultant, what we need to do, we need to help you to become winner in industry is able to change the business model, right? Let the bosses must know how to design the new game plan in order for you to survive in these new pandemics, right? That is the importance of upskilling and reskilling during this COVID consultant, brand consultant to how to redesign their whole company brand. However, under this digital world, the workforce need to understand how to plan their content, how to write the content in order to attract more customer and visit to your website. Lastly, and this public relations, a lot of salesperson that will going to go out and social to have a public relations with their customer. But however, under this pandemic, what they need to do, they need to design a website to have as many links as possible so that people, when they visit the website, they're able to link it to your website. And last time we are talking about focus group to get some of the different group of people idea, all right, in order for them to market their product. However, now we are talking about this digital world. The workforce need to understand how to convert, all right, the lead to become a sales, and creative design, how to design the
Dr. Christopher. I believe the internet connection is a bit slow. That might delay the
of FB
presentation.
live selling. So the FB live selling. So the FB live selling, basically they do a lot of live selling to attract more customers. Last time we are talking about Facebook marketing. Facebook marketing. Facebook marketing is not interactions. However, here now basically the Facebook live able to interact with the customer at the same time. So basically, now basically the whole pandemic that affect the whole business game plan that a lot of people now they want to become a professional like WhatsApp. We are talking about like, for example, Line, KakaoTalk. All these is the apps that bring into the workplace in order to have a easier communication. Lastly is bring your own device, which is you bring your iPad, bring your laptop, bring your handphone, all right, in order for you to communicate during the workplace. Right. In conclusion, basically, in order to upskill the workforce, we need people, which is a new mindset, basic creativity of the workforce as well. Lastly, which is the empowerment. The supervisor able to empower their worker to, how to say, to empower the worker to use all these devices into the workplace. This is the key importance, right? So if you have any question, you can always visit our website. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Christopher, but I believe that the internet was a bit slow, so the presentation was delayed. We couldn't hear everything. So if you may summarize the presentation in 2 minutes to our audience, that would be great.
All right, sorry, I think the internet here a bit slow. So basically, the main thing I'm talking about when the online is one of the key things for all the businesses they need to adopt in their workplace. Otherwise, you will sooner or later will be, sooner or later, basically, you will going to close down your business under this pandemics. All right, thank you.
All right, thank you so much for sharing your information and for such helpful tips that we might be using. Moving to our third panelist, Mr. Brian Lerich, CEO of Make It Right Movement, head of a special jobs website, a member of multiple social entrepreneurs programs, and has authored numerous books, booklets, and social educational and medical resources focused on children, youth, and the community at large. Mr. Brian's topic is CSR, social responsibility. Is it just lip service? It's so good to have you here, Mr. Brian. Please, you may start.
Hi, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It's good to be here. Again, my name is Brian Larish, and I'm the CEO of the Make It Right movement. The Make It Right movement is one of the partners of UPF here in Malaysia. I'm under the Brickfields Asia Education Group. It's the corporate social responsibility arm of the Brickfields Asia Education Group. It's quite a unique organization in the sense that we believe that the holistic student only appears beyond the paper trail. I mean, the paper trail is fine. We give them the paper, the diploma, the degree, the master's, the PhD, that's fine. But without the backing of a holistic mindset, mindfulness, the idea that you are part of, which I think has been echoed by Udesh before me. You know, it's more than a piece of paper. It's more than a piece of paper. And I think myself is a testimony of that, you know, that ability to integrate, network, know where you stand in this world today is extremely important. And why CSR? Corporate social responsibility has been the trust. You know, everybody uses this word so spontaneously without realizing what exactly it means. And I'm sorry to say that it's a little bit distorted nowadays. You know, one of the gurus of businesses, Milton Friedman, said that, you know, the business of business is business. And the primary purpose of a business is to make money. That's a fact. But it is how you temper the making of the money that's important. And let me go through, I'm not a fan of slides, but I'm going to go through a couple of slides very quickly. You will see that as I speak, I don't necessarily follow everything on the slide. So, you know, it sort of go with the flow, and also, you know, understanding what my past two speakers mentioned, and including our eminent, distinguished, honored guest who spoke earlier just now. Yeah, so let me go to that, share screen. Yeah, can you see my screen? Yeah.
Yes, we can see.
Okay, so is it just lip service? The sad answer is frequently the answer is yes. So what am I going to do? Give you a little bit of background of CSR. I also realized that this conversation today is quite global. So I will give a very brief introduction on Malaysian CSR and not too much on beyond that. Yeah. Examples of CSR, good versus bad CSR, how to attract good CSR as an NGO here in Malaysia. And when do you actually go for corporate support? Do you go for corporate support every time? Can you manage otherwise? So let me start very quickly. Now, it's there, it's practices or policies implemented by companies that create a positive influence in the world. Sorry, there's some typos here. Self-regulating business models implemented by companies that make them socially responsible. So it's the 3 Ps, the people, planet, and profit. What does this mean? When you make a business, you make sure you take care of the people, and the first people you take care of is your employee. And then you take care of the customer. There's no point being an outstanding, you know, taking care of your customer, but then treating your own employee pointlessly. Of course, next, you know, everywhere in the world, we have snow now, you know, it's snowing in America, it's snowing in Europe, and it's already April, it's supposed to be spring. So for those naysayers that say there's no climate change, it's absolutely not true. And profit, you know, profit, I think this is an important area to discuss. Right? And this is what CSR is about. CSR is not about how you spend your money, how many buildings you donate, how many bags of rice you give to people, but essentially it's how you make your money in the first place. I think that is extremely important, how you make money in the first place. And it's going above and beyond compliance. So that means you are going above and beyond your comfort zone. The government requires you have law A, B, C, D, E, and this is what you're doing. Now, when you do that, all you're doing is just complying, right, to what is out there. But when you go beyond, that's CSR, and I think that has to be clear. So, you know, making your staff. Let me go to the next slide. You know, these are examples of CSR, minimizing your environmental externalities. Now, these are realities. Oil and gas companies, without a doubt, you create damage to the earth. It's how you minimize the damage, you know, and when there are cost options that require you to use those cost options to minimize damage to the earth, it's your responsibility to do that, not to extract every last bit to the point that, you know, the benefits, the negativity far, you know, outstrips the benefits. Simple things like promoting volunteerism. This is something that we at Brickfields Asia College are very strong. We have a student body of 8,000 to 9,000, where we encourage not only our student body, but also our staff to volunteer. I'll go back into that a little bit later on. Socially and environmentally conscious decisions. We make it a point, for example, we have our cafeteria at the college, and part of the cafeteria is given to special needs communities. So we have a special need community, people living with autism, people living with Down syndrome, slow learners who run the cafeteria. This is extremely important because they too have a place. In fact, in this pandemic, one of the most forgotten group of people will probably be those living with disabilities, PWDs, people with disabilities, and the older generation, completely forgotten. The sheer amount of depression they must be going through, right? And the donating to charities. In fact, CSR actually can be very simplistically put. A donation is when you give money without direction, right? You just donate. Someone comes to me, can you give me money? Here, take, this is the amount. If I can get a tax exemption, all the better, you know, for my company. And which should be the possibility when it's there, right? Number two is philanthropy. What is philanthropy? How does philanthropy differentiate from donation? Philanthropy differentiates from donation when philanthropy is directed. This is my company. We are dealing with environment. For example, we are an oil and gas company, Petronas. So our philanthropy must be connected to our business model, right? It must be directly connected to that. Or we are, I'll give you a couple of examples later on. You're one of the Malaysian government-linked companies, GLCs, then you're a nation-building company. That's your duty. That's your duty. So again, philanthropy should be channeled towards nation building. Last but not least would be corporate social responsibility. This is where the very essence, the DNA of the company is directed towards, together we are one. The new tagline in Malaysia, Kita Jaga Kita, I think is the epitome of what CSR is all about. I can only make money when the economy allows me to make money. I can't make money when the economy is down. So every business seeks to make its economy and its people better, because then obviously you get a better market. Now, very quickly, good versus bad CSR. During the pandemic, there were many examples of good and bad CSR. I mean, it was just amazingly embarrassing to see during the floods that we had last year in Pahang, where bags of rice were given with the face of the donor on the bag of rice. Now, how is that face going to feed the person, you tell me? What is the value of the face there? If you truly are doing CSR, CSR has got long-term, short-term, and immediate. When it comes to a disaster, it's immediate. Your job is to feed them, not to tell them, I fed you, but to give them the food. So I think we have to be clear on that. And this is where we have issues nowadays, where people are more intent on taking 1,000 photos for 2 ringgit worth of social media coverage. Basically, before with print media, you could judge, the print media in its own way to some degree, I feel, but this is a personal opinion, could help moderate that a little bit better. When companies gave more money, they got more space. Nowadays, if you have the right masterful social media person with you, you can give 50 ringgit and make it seem like as though you gave them 50,000, and that's very sad, I think. This is where now, during the pandemic, all the wrong images and wrong idea of what is CSR is coming about. Okay, Johnson & Johnson is a company that produces one of the vaccinations, one of the 6 vaccinations, right? They actually go beyond that. They are using the fact that they provide education. They provide education for women specifically. They also have programs dealing with the environment, because part of their business model includes heavy pollution. So they want to do something to make the world a better place. L'Occitane is another company that provides cosmetics, and packaging and cosmetics is a big issue nowadays. But interestingly, L'Occitane is focusing on the blind. So they are doing programs with the visually impaired. In fact, nowadays, we are discussing with them on how we can change that program here in Malaysia. We are trying to do something. And there are many other examples. The cigarette companies are probably, sadly for me, one of the prime examples of companies that do lip service when it comes to CSR. I remember this Don't Be a Maybe was a program done in Africa where they would say that they're reducing cigarette smoking among the young, but we discovered that there was a whole team created whose whole job was to market to the young community, to the teenagers. The pride of Germany, Volkswagen, which said it made the best, most energy efficient vehicles in the world. And it turned out to be a complete scam, right? These are examples of companies that use CSR to their benefit, but actually created a detriment to the world. And it is times during a pandemic like this, you recognize companies that actually deserve your attention. And we as the people need to use our buying power to target companies that genuinely contribute to society and boycott the companies that don't. We have some degree of power. We have and nowadays with social media, we have some degree of revelation compared to before. We need to use all those things to fight back, right? So if you are an NGO and you are now stuck in a pandemic, if you are someone dealing with the refugee community, you're dealing with the migrant labor community, these are communities hit extremely badly by the pandemic here in Malaysia. I'm not saying that my brothers and fellow Malaysians are not affected by it. Of course, we all are. But the marginalized societies tend to be even more affected by all of this. I know this for a fact. The Brickfields Asia College Group at the moment is the #1 tertiary education provider for refugees in all of Southeast Asia. We have the most numbers of refugees studying with us in tertiary education, and we've made it a point to market it to them. So, you know, and many of them have dropped out of school for the simple reason refugees are not recognized as entities here in Malaysia. They're not legal. So if you want to do attract CSR, what do you need to do? Clearly articulate your goals, right? Research your potential partner. If you are working in environment, which are the companies working in the environmental agenda? Have a solid campaign proposal. Don't say, help me, and I put your poster on the, nowadays everybody does that. What's the big deal? How do you differentiate yourself from somebody else, right? Demonstrate your ability to engage with audiences. This is where your network is extremely important, right? Develop cross-promotional strategies. Show the company that you are able to get their name out there and highlight the good that they want to do together with you, right? So accept a corporate responsible funding only when the funding is in tandem with the output that you're going to do. What do I mean by this? Don't accept 10,000 ringgit and then put a plaque the size of China on top of your building saying that company A gave you some, 10,000 ringgit. It must be in tandem. Look for a company that genuinely is caring for this and is not focused on the media. If they genuinely want to help you, right, the media focus will be minimum. And please follow protocols about exposure of children, people with disabilities, how many photos you take and don't take. Yeah, these are very important things. And during the pandemic, people are desperate, but that doesn't mean you take advantage of that and use the desperation to your advantage. Yeah, thank you very much. I think I've managed to keep within the time, and I'll hand it back to Lena.
Almost. Thank you so much, Mr. Brian. And I believe the information you shared will be of benefit to the audience. So moving to our next topic, which is about acceleration of online e-commerce, the future of jobs in logistics, with Mr. Jason Lim Wen Chen, the branch manager of Gebroder with Singapore, with 7 years experience in logistic project implementation across Singapore, Vietnam, and Malaysia. Please, I would like to welcome Mr. Jason. The floor is yours.
Hi, everyone. Thanks, Ms. Lin. I'm very honored to be here to share about my personal experience on these 3 topics: how technology has reshaped the logistic industry, how much COVID-19 has accelerated that process last year, and how these changes transform our job in the logistic field. I'll start by giving you an example of Gebroder Weiss, how our company has transformed along with the technology. First of all, we are a medium-sized logistic company headquartered in Austria. Today, we have 170 locations worldwide with 7,300 employees. We are still a family-owned business, and we are probably the oldest transport company with almost 500 years of history. The family actually started the business back in the 15th century by providing courier service between northern Italy to the southern Germany through the Alps on the horse. In the mid of 20th century, we expanded very quickly with the popularization of modern motor vehicles. We then further expanded to the east into the Asia by connecting the dots along the Silk Route through railway and road transports. So if you look into the history of Gebroder Weiss, we continue to evolve with technology changes. And this is one of the many reasons why the company still remain relevant in today's world. If we look back 20 to 30 years ago, transport was all about moving the goods from point A to point B. And warehouse was about putting the goods somewhere, make sure that it is safe and secure. However, things are very different now. From customer expectation, consumer behavior, to the way how people want the information to be received and to be used. I'm going to show you here an example in a short video on how modern warehousing look like today and what our customer expected from us in today's situation.
My name is Mariana Neumuller-Clapper, and I'm the operations director at Nespresso. Nespresso is a growing company, and we have been searching for a partner who is able to grow with us in the future and to satisfy our high quality standards. The training of the employees and their ability to perform this picking speed quickly was the biggest challenge. It is all about speed. If I can save 1 second per package, it saves me weeks over the course of a whole year. That means the best quality of picking, just like we have the best quality of coffee. Nespresso is a business in which we get a lot of big pallets. And on the other side, we are sending out a whole lot of small packages. We've chosen Gebruder Weiss because in them, we saw our values reflected the most. That means we are on the same wavelength considering quality standards and the will to continuously develop and learn from each other. Cooperating with Gebruder Weiss, I am very pleased with the open and transparent business relations, where our needs are properly met. I'm also very happy that we have the opportunity to grow in this location. As much as our business can grow, we want to continue this path with Gebruder Weiss. This is not normal logistics, it's production. We produce packages. This message has to be understood, and we see it has.
I hope you all enjoyed the video. Last year was a year where things are changing in a different way. Some business slowed down, some went very well. But for us, it was a year full of challenges. Because of COVID-19, e-commerce is accelerating at an incredible pace. Everyone wants to start a business online or being forced to put their business online. Not only we see that the volume of our existing customer has increased, we have also seen more and more business venture into the B2C market. Our home delivery business has increased by 30%. Number of parcels delivered increased by 34%. And 6,700 of our customers has enrolled themselves in My GW portal, which is a web-based system that allowed them to have full visibility of their shipments, be it the shipment is still on the route or inside the warehouse. To cope with these changes, some of our branches, including Singapore, is speeding up our automation process. Now, some of you might be thinking that automation sounds very far away from me because it needs huge investment or has nothing to do with me because my work is done in front of the computer most of the time. It makes absolutely no sense for me to build a conveyor belt just to bring my coffee right in front of my table. However, automation can be anything. What I want to show you next, maybe some of you has already come across the term RPA, which is basically a software, an AI, or a virtual robot as we call, that help us to automate some repetitive and clerical stuff, normally done by a staff in front of a computer. In Gebruder Weiss, We used to handle these tasks by putting a few people in front of a computer and work 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. With the increased volume, we cannot just increase 30% more people or make the current team to work 7 days a week round the clock, at the same time expecting the same quality of work over a short period of time. With RPA, we have the opportunity to take the burden off from the existing team, freeing them from some boring tasks that keep them busy and allowing them to create more value to our customer and to the company. For example, instead of spending time on data entry, they are now more involved in coordination with customer, calling our customer, planning and scheduling, and even involved into the thinking process of continuous improvement. Now, if you are interested in how this RPA things works in real life, just go on YouTube and you can search the term robotic process automation, and you may find many examples. Maybe some of those are already relevant to your business. I think I've showed you how the company has transformed our business over the 500 years of time, from delivering goods riding on the horses until nowadays we are talking about automation. Coming back to the topic of today, how our job has changed over time, what is the future of our job, and how do we stay relevant moving forward. For those of you who are in this webinar and you are looking for a job in logistics field, please take note, this can be part of the job requirements. First of all, I think it's very important for us to keep our minds open, be able to learn and adapt, because things are changing very fast. Second, communication skills. This is absolutely important, as we need to be able to express our idea in order to make things happen. Third, collaboration and cooperation. With the advancement of technology, our job is getting more and more complicated and more specific. Nobody can be an expert in everything. Most of the time, we must be able to work with others that possess different kind of skill sets in a diverse environment. And last but not least, the ability to challenge things around us. Sometimes rules are made to be broken in order to make progress. Of course, please don't go out and break the MCO rule after this and pay 10,000 ringgit fines. This is not part of our job, and this is not the message that I want to deliver. That's all I wanted to share today, and thanks very much for listening.
On now. So thank you, Mr. Jason, and I'm sure the topic is value to the webinar and the panel discussion as well. So joining us today is a superwoman, the first in AGM Malaysia to win twice in USA Global United Pageant, Queen for Kids, and she is the winner of Women Glamour Award 2020 in Community Contribution, Ms. Tracy Chan, the founder and director of Dare to Dream Management, the founder and director of K&T Dance Academy. Please, Ms. Tracy, I pass the floor to you. You may start.
Thank you, Ms. Lin, for the kind introduction, and thank you, Universal Peace Federation Malaysia, for having me today. It's actually my great honor to listen and to learn from all the wonderful and inspiring speakers today. So each day, International Women's Day, is celebrated on March 8th. And around the world, we celebrated the achievement of the woman. And we hope that the aim is to empower women and to dream bigger and to go further. In old times, women are expected to be a wife, a woman who take care of family, and a full-time housewife. without any career opportunities, and also to told not to do things they are not supposed to do. But today, as a woman is a mother, a wife, a homemaker, a working woman, a professional, but yet we women are still being judged for everything that we do. Therefore, there are still many women out there who just do whatever the society want them to be and accept the fate that we are the woman. So for me, this year theme for International Women's Day is Choose to Challenge. It set the mission for us as a woman that we are responsible for our thoughts and action every single day. We are capable to be a successful parents, leaders, friends, and all at once. And we have to understand that as a woman, it's our choice to live our life in our way. We can change the world, and it should start from the within. As the founder of Dare to Dream event company and also KNT Dance Academy since 2009, giving back, I always believe that giving back is something that we should do as a human being. And giving back is not just in donating money to those in need. It's actually mean more than that. It's actually mean contribution to the community, the involvement, to contribute in kind as a volunteer. It could be your random act of kindness, and to support any community program by creating awareness and to spread our love and positivity to people around us. So by helping the community, we also have the opportunity to grow as a woman and as a person. And we could understand how we could fit in the world around us. And in business perspective, giving back is also a great way for us to know our community and to broaden our network and to grow together. As a dance teacher, I always believe that young children should start to give back. So we always encourage, the children to perform for charity. At least there is something that we can do together. In 2015, I actually discovered that I have a health issue, but it doesn't stop me to do something impossible in my life. Actually, I was bullied when I'm in school. Lecturer told me that I'm too ugly and I will not have opportunity to being hired because, I just not someone that, there won't be anyone that is going to hire me. But I proved them wrong because after I graduate, I actually worked in few MNC. And therefore, I decided to challenge myself again by involving in pageantry. So in 2016 is one of the greatest moments of my life to represent Malaysia to compete in US. And I won as Mrs. Global United Lifetime Queen. And this is the best platform for me as it's encouraged community involvement and also to promote childhood cancer awareness. So upon my return to Malaysia, I founded Light It Up Go campaign as the first implement to promote childhood cancer awareness. And I've been working closely with various NGO and also companies to help those in need and also little warriors who are fighting for cancer. And in 2019, I was entrusted as the Malaysia Global United Pageant Director. And I formed my own company, Dare to Dream Management, where to create a platform for today's women to build their confidence and to fulfill their little dreams and to inspire other women to be queen for kids. And together, we help those in need. I hope that we could build a collaborative and supportive network around the world that's inclusive and help women to maximize their talent and ambition, whatever stages of life. We should actively use our power of influence and the platform which we have to uplift and inspire others, promote women, foster sisterhood, and to give back to the community. So together, we all can help and to create inclusive world. From challenge come from change. So let's choose to challenge. And lastly, I hope that as women, we will continue to inspire others. Let's raise our hand, choose to challenge. And remember, let's shine, let your inner beauty shine and light up others people's life. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Tracy, a woman making it happen in the community. Thank you so much. We really enjoyed your tips and your discussion. So last but not least, I would like to invite Mr. Lai Bing Kyung. He would like to highlight on the importance of social service and volunteerism and community service with the topic of call to action. I would like to mention as well that Mr. Lai Bing Kyung is an active social leader in Malaysia. He have dedicated more than 15 years of full-time membership in number of NGOs, and he's currently the president of Family Federation for World Peace Malaysia and Collegiate Association for the Research of Principles. Mr. Lai, please, you may start.
A very good afternoon. And for some of you, good morning and good evening, good night, especially to Mr. Tom McDavid, Mr. Kajikuri, Mr. Sudesh, and all the prominent speakers today. With the official launch of IAED, so it is my time and my great pleasure to invite you to participate in our call for action for the public good, for giving back, and for CSR purpose. We believe actions speak louder than words. So what is IAED? Of course, it is the International Association for Peace and Economic Development Malaysia. Yes. And for me, I would like to put another short tagline. IAED, I am engaging and driven. We, the IAED, are here to engage you, ladies and gentlemen, as the agent of change, driven with the commitment to support the United Nations Substantial Development Goal 2, 4, and 8. Yes, I believe everyone here can be the driven force to make our society a better place, especially in this difficult time of pandemic. Some of you may say, I have a full-time job, I'm always busy and packed with meeting and work. All this can wait until I retire. But who said working full-time means you couldn't contribute to the better society or nation and create social impact? In fact, social impact can happen in every sector and workplace environment. So it starts from you and me. So today I would like to share a few simple yet effective initiatives for you to take action. First, you may educate yourself and your co-worker to take part in equality education project to nurture our younger generation. This can be done as easy as sharing your concern with your colleague during lunch or even at the water dispenser. There are so many existing quality education projects which you can contribute to. Second, you can also start simple fundraising campaign at work with target goal to support a community service project or charity. A target goal is good for you to measure and execute the campaign as well. Next, promote volunteerism in your company. It is not always about helping with money or cash. You can organize or take part in volunteer work project. The community need talented people like you to contribute your expert. Here, IAED, we have Malaysia, we have identified a few good projects or good charity which you can contribute to. In line with SDG 2, you can support a Circle of Light humanitarian aids initiated by Universal Peace Federation Malaysia during the breakout of COVID-19 pandemic. This project has benefited so far 5,000 families and individuals since April last year by providing food ration. You may contribute in monetary or in kind to support this meaningful project. Also, we have giveback.my, which is a project of our speaker, Mr. Brian and the team, which is a very good project. It's an online fundraising platform founded by BAC Education Group in April 2020 to specifically address the need of those affected by COVID-19 pandemic. You can just click onto their website to support one or more charitable causes that is close to your heart. To support the SDG number 4, which is the quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunity, you can support Ajar Ajar Malaysia and NGO, which conduct free tuition program for children from poor and underprivileged community. Currently, they have 12 free tuition center in Malaysia, which involve more than 100 volunteers, especially the university student, and they have benefited more than 300 B40 children. We need your help to support this operation cost of Ajar Ajar Malaysia, which every year, every project, they are spending around 50,000 ringgit. You may also consider to contribute to this good cause. Another good project, we also have Peace Children Care Center, PCCC in Penang, a home which provide care and shelter for underprivileged children. They started operation since July 2020 and are now nurturing 12 children in their home. So they need a second-hand van for their transportation now, and also they welcome more volunteer, especially the youth, to support the center. So next, one of our partner is T Ratana. T Ratana is a charitable welfare organization providing for more than 500 residents a month. They help to light up children, elderly folks, women, community, health and handicap starting from the year 1997. You may support them by donating food and household item, medical supply, stationery, and also to you yourself can be a volunteer there. So next, to contribute to SDG number 8, we have Women Federation for World Peace, WFWP here. WFWP aims to empower single mother and underprivileged women through a series of skill training workshop and youth education program. You may help to raise funds for underprivileged girls to pursue their education, 1,000 ringgit per student in the Give Me a Chance Education Assistance Fund initiative. Find sponsor to cover the annual website maintenance fees of 2,500 ringgit, or volunteer to write an article or create content for website or Facebook page. So for more information about all the charitable partner that we have in UPF and IAED, like our UPF Malaysia Facebook, and find out more how you can support the SDG in simple and effective way. Remember, you can make a difference. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lei. And I would like to thank our speakers and panelists for participations in today's webinar. Thank you all for sharing your thoughts and knowledge from your real experience. We couldn't have pulled this off without you, actually. And I believe it will be of benefit to the audience as well. So for now, moving on to the Q&A session, let's take a few minutes for that. And I believe we have the first question from the audience. The first question says, is it easier for business owners to make a transition and adapt to the new norm and online market, or to launch a new business in the time of pandemic? And I believe this question might be related to Dr. Christopher topic.
Yeah, thank you. For this question, basically, I would like to address it by, because we have consulted many businesses, there is the challenges for those business owners when they want to transform it to become online. Like for example, we used to consult one of the family business, which is a manufacturing company, which more than 35 years. They rather to spend the money, right, to buy a luxury car instead of spending the money invest into the IT. So this is the sad thing that a lot of entrepreneurs in Malaysia, they are facing. So the other things that for those entrepreneurs that have a workforce, which is their age is more than 40 years old to 50 years old, they are reluctant to learn a new skill, which is now currently the pandemics. Like for example, one corporation, they are still using a fax machine, right? Can you imagine? They are still using a typewriter. So they are failed to use email, all right, instead of a normal mail to send a letter to their clients. So this is how difficult for this kind of organization to transform their business model to become online. So for us, all right, actually 4 years ago, I used to consult a lot of business that urge them to transform their business model to become digitalize their business, but they never listen. But under this pandemics, a lot of them, they are closing down. They have no choice, right? Because they are, cannot adapt into this new norm in the short time. So what they do, they choose to close down the business, right? Back to you, moderator.
All right. Thank you so much. So it's a bit easier to transition your business to make it online than making and launching a new business. That's the highlighted answer, right?
Yeah.
Okay, we've gone to the next question. How can businesses be more inclusive, include all stakeholders? And I would like to call Mr. Thomas McDevitt. Would you care to share your thoughts, Mr. Thomas?
Sure. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
How can businesses be more inclusive? That was the question.
Yeah, that was the question.
Yeah. Well, I think it all starts with certainly the senior leadership of a company, whether it's a small startup of one entrepreneur whose mindset is to engage intergenerationally, gender-wise, nationally, ethnic-wise, etc. It's all about our mindset, how we see the world in a way. But that transfers also to HR policies and how the leadership of the human resources efforts in a company are oriented. I think that being inclusive is absolutely essential to get the best output, to have a variety of opinions and skills and abilities that are synthesized together. So I think being inclusive is probably one of the most important mindsets and orientations that management needs to be effective. I'd also want to add one thing related to the last question. I was very affected by the book by Thomas Friedman. Thank You for Being Late, written in 2016, New York Times bestseller. And Friedman makes the point that the single most important skill in the future as things accelerate, and this is 5 years ago, is the capacity to be a lifelong learner. So I think that's especially important for an older generation. The baby boomers, the 40s, 50s, 60s, people can still learn. There's a huge surge of older folks that get involved in social media, as an example. So I think being inclusive is an essential mindset. Having an attitude of lifelong learning, it is gold. If you can learn anything you want if you put your time and attention to it, including shifting from the analog world to the digital world. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Thomas. Thanks for this inclusive answer as well. So the next question is, due to the sudden attack by the COVID-19 virus, many corporations and industries were badly affected in the year 2020 till the present moment. However, there are many corporations and industries still coming forward to help the less fortunate affected groups and individuals. What are the criteria and information for CSR to be performed by these corporations or organizations? And I believe this is Mr. Brian. Mr. Brainfield, would you like to share your thoughts on that?
Lean, very quickly again, the question, please, very quickly. Sorry.
The full question, or okay, because it's more to say.
Yeah.
Actually, so the question is about the criteria and the requirements and required information for CSR to be performed by organization and corporations.
Actually, I think it's a fallacy to think that CSR can be done only by big corporations. Anyone can do CSR. As long as you're a corporate body, you can do it. You know, two people. I know one of my clients is only four people company, and they do extensive CSR. It's all a matter of your, you know, as Mr. McDavid has said, it's the leadership. If the leadership has that mindset, you know, from the start that, you know, I want to make money by making sure that I'm equitable, I want to make a difference in society, at the same time be a rich person, you know, you can do both. Nobody says one has to be less by you being successful, you know what I mean? You can take along everyone with you. So the criteria is very easy. Make your what do you call it, CSR activity connected to your business. If you're dealing with education, then offer scholarships. You know, if you're dealing with education, offer what do you call it? Dr. Christopher was talking about upskilling. BSc Education Group has a project called Project Deep, where we're giving 2 million ringgit worth of scholarships for people to upskill themselves, to move away from the traditional, you know, mod and bot, to go to the internet, to go to the, you know, how do you, if you're 60 years old and you haven't touched the computer, how do you reinvent yourself? You know, and having said that, age is really a subsidiary thing. It's got nothing to do with it. We have excellent people in their 60s and 70s teaching me how to do IT. So, you know, that's all got nothing to do with it, I think. So what is the criteria? Number one, I want to do something. That's the first criteria you need to have. And as soon as you have that in mind, then everything falls into place. But, you know, they say you pay peanuts, you know, you get monkeys. I think that's very true. You know, invest in the right person. It's worth investing in the right person to get your company on the right direction. Once you get it right, I give you a very simple example that almost anybody in the developed world or developing world will know. Body Shop. Look at how they've made their business model so fantastic, based on the anti-cruelty to animal. You know, when I was working in the Middle East, you could go and see Body Shop and a similar company side by side, and Body Shop would be full, and the other company would not be, because they use their CSR as their marketing tool to bring in money. So it was a win-win for everybody. Nobody says CSR is meant to be a money loser. It's meant to be a money, you know, something to gain your company. It's not a waste of time. It's not a waste of money. I hope that helps. Yeah.
the next for 2 to 3 questions. That one would be for Ms. Tracy. So how do you believe that investing in women could be a key to post-pandemic recovery?
Can you repeat the question? Sorry.
How investing in women could be a key to post-pandemic recovery?
Sorry, I can't hear you. One more time, sorry.
Okay, is the mic on, actually? Can everyone hear?
Sorry.
Yeah, it's fine, I'm just making sure. So the
Yeah,
question
because
was,
I think yeah.
okay, how investing in women could be a key to post-pandemic recovery?
How, sorry, I can't get the first question.
Investing in women, empowering women.
Or how investing in women, okay.
Yeah, could be a key to post-pandemic recovery, post-COVID recovery.
All right, so I personally think that as a woman, because of this pandemic, a lot of people are jobless, they might be staying at home doing nothing, right? But I think that rather than we feel sad and depressed at home, right? Why don't we learn new skills, right? I mean, if you have more time, learn some skill, you can get it. You can get all the information online through YouTube, or you can just sign up for some courses, upgrade yourself while you can. Then after the pandemic, you can still go out there and you can find a job, or you can be your own boss, right? You can do online sales or do whatever that you can at home while you're taking care of your kids. So I think, yeah, there are lots that as a woman we can do. Keep upgrading ourselves.
Thank you so much. Thanks.
Thank you.
Most welcome. I believe the couple of questions we have for now, it's for Mr. Yodesh. So the questions are about almost similar. So the first one is, what strategies can business employ to involve the community and for its growth? Okay, so what strategies can businesses apply to involve the community and for its growth? That's the first question. The second one is, during the pandemic, let's say the crisis mode, is there any preferred strategy as well in tough economic times for executive and leaders of business owners to apply and to do?
Okay, thank you, Lynn. Okay, so question one was a strategy for employees to empower the community. Okay, if I got that. And question two is a strategy for business owners, in fact, to look towards this. Okay, perhaps I would actually round it up and say that the strategy, right? The strategy is important in a way that don't get lost. Okay, don't get lost trying to look at the benefit for the company. Like just now we just had the talk, Brian, you had the talk on the CSR, right? It's very, very interesting because whenever you talk about CSR, the first thing that comes in the mind of corporates, okay? And trust me, 99% of corporates, when they hear about CSR, it's about how much of tax I'm going to save. What is the deduction on the tax? Because why? CSR equals to deduction in tax. To be very frank, I mean, we can laugh over it, but this is the bitter reality of corporations out there, that has not been addressed at the grassroots. So today, when you're talking about reimagining your business, what is a strategy that we can teach our future generations, our people, about SDGs and about MDGs back then, and now is the SDGs? We have to realize the strategy is simple. Charity begins at home. Okay, there's one phrase that usually we businessmen, we always tell people, I don't know if a few of you all have heard this, or maybe do practice this. Whenever we are going to choose partners in business, we always say that look for partners who treat their wives well or their spouse well. Okay, if literally we are going to find partners who treat their children well, okay, in the family, you will know that this partner is going to treat his lower subordinates better in the company. And if you treat partners who treat their parents well, then you know this partner is going to be treating superiors in the company well. So I always tell people, whatever you do, from where you're coming from, in Bahasa Malaysia, we say it is that, seperti kacang lupakan kulit. Don't forget your roots. Most of us these days, the moment we jump into businesses, the main thing in our mind is what? I'm going to be a millionaire. And here, let me be very bold. Let me be as loud as possible and tell is that it is the system of the media that has blinded us all by saying going into business is for you to be a millionaire and for you to retire early. This is the wrong message that media has been planting out there, which I totally disagree. Because why? The whole idea of a human life, it's a journey to be able to rise and lift up the others as you rise higher. But when you go to a vicious cycle, seeing that to be materialistic, to be strong, you totally forget about what are you doing it and how you are going to give to the community. And this was answered very well by Brian. You said is that, CSR has totally been distorted, whereby that people do CSR these days for the media and publicity. Well, you can leverage on it, not say no, you can leverage on it, but you should know the idea is that where it is heading to, most importantly. So that's why usually when I tell to employees and business owners, I always catch business owners because they are the most important ones. And what do I tell them is that, just imagine that this is your business you're talking about. And when you have each and every employee under you, imagine that you are actually running a family below you. How are you going to treat them? That is the most important thing. How are you going to treat them? You are not going to shout at your children on a Monday morning. There's no such thing as Monday blues. This thing has totally changed in the 21st world century. So the whole idea is the cycle goes around. What you give is what you get. I totally believe. So coming to the final point about the strategy in business, I will say that to put it in fine layman words, there is no tricks around it. Be as simple as possible. Forget about the bombastic words. Be as simple as possible, because simplicity, the lesser is much more the better, I would say. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Reader. So it's all about the quality, let's say, not the quantity. All right. For the last question we have for Mr. Jason, SMEs and small businesses cannot venture into high-cost robotic automation. What choices do they have?
Well, I believe I don't, other than, automations, I also show something that is easily doable online. A lot of times we cannot, as a business, we cannot run away from human, right? And it's sad to find out that sometimes the job become boring because there are so many manual tasks behind, and it restricts the business from growing. So I think as a business leader, you have to keep yourself stay connected to the technology out there. Some of the things are easy to adopt, easy to implement. Some of the things are more difficult, right? But don't get, how do I put it? Don't reframe yourself to go out there and join this kind of webinar. Most of the time you go there, you found a lot of solutions. 90% of those is not applicable, but it's fine. If you are able to find that 10% which is applicable to your business, it's a gain, right? But if you don't go out there, you are achieving nothing. So the world is changing and changing very quickly, and our technology has advanced very quickly. The ways how we used to work is also changing. And there is a big opportunity there to change that process, by knowing something that is out there.
Correct. Thank you so much, Mr. Jason. Thank you. And I would like to have a group photo session with all the speakers and panelists. So if you please may look at the camera and cheese. Just show your best face. All right, done. Just get it from the technicians. Okay. So moving forward now, I would like to thank the speakers one more time. And before passing the floor to Mr. Sudesh, I would like to remind our audience and all the business owners and NGO leaders that we are the real action takers, actually. And in order to improve and raise up our community and help people growth by applying knowledge and skills to benefit others and to serve the public good. Thank you so much. And now with all of that said, I would like to pass the floor to UBF Chairman, to Mr. Mr. Sudesh, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Lin. Yes, Udesh and Sudesh, we often have
Yes.
his name without an S. And once again,
Without S.
yeah, Udesh, you're there, right?
Yes.
Thank you, Ms. Lin, for leading the interesting and wonderful discussion. Thank you to all the panelists for the most practical and inspiring insights given in this less than 1 hour. In closing, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you will all agree with me that we had a very inspiring and engaging presentation from the panel of speakers today, who have given us some real good takeaways to ponder about and perhaps to inspire your business forward in this post-pandemic period. Again, I would like to thank our eminent keynote speaker, Mr. Thomas McDavid of Washington Times. Tom, I think you can go to bed soon. Yeah, thank you really for staying up with us at this hour. We really appreciate your insights and your time with us. Mr. Kajikuri, Regional Coordinator of IAED Asia Pacific, thank you again for your time, for blessing us on this occasion. And of course, the panelists again for your wonderful insights. Also, I would like to thank Brickfield's Asia College Education Group for supporting us on this webinar, as well as the Call for Action initiative. Thanks to all the staff. I'm actually in a big hall here, and there's at least a team of 5 or 6, 7 people here working behind the scenes and making sure that everything is going flawless. Thank you once again to all the staff. So, ladies and gentlemen, with the launching of IAED Malaysia, we hope business leaders like you can come together to contribute to making our nation safer, more secure, more affluent place to live for everyone, reducing poverty, creating opportunities for more people to live purposeful and meaningful lives, especially as we move towards the post-COVID era. Let us focus on long-term mutual prosperity and sustainable development for the betterment of our future generations. We hope you or your business would join hands with us in the practical call to action as was illustrated by Mr. Lai. We are highlighting 3 SDGs, 2, 4, and 8, and we have charity beneficiaries that you can be part of. We hope all of you then, before you leave today, you could fill in the feedback form with the link available in the chat box. Do also let us know how you would like to participate